Hi, everyone. All right. Mrs. P has a new video out today. I think someone tried to knock some sense into her. I don't know. She's starting to make a little sense here. If you believe her, which I'm not sure I do. So let's get started with her new video. Here.
Have to simply learn to.
All righty.
Afternoon, everyone. It's Friday, close to 3 o'clock. I am on here because I'm going to continue with what happened yesterday versus what happened this morning. I will give everyone a couple of minutes to come on in.
Hey, Becca Chu.
And my husband is modding for me this afternoon. I hope everyone can join me because I feel this is extremely important. I'm still a couple minutes early, so I will give everyone a few more minutes to hop on in. Hey, babe.
Hello.
Hey, T-Bo.
Mrs. P's at it again today. So this was like 4 hours ago.
I'll give everyone just a couple more minutes and I'll get started.
We're going to continue the Mrs. P content.
Hey, Joyce. Welcome. I do have some important things I really want to try to cover today. Hey, Miss Dior. Welcome. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get started. This has to do with the issue from yesterday regarding the very vile, hateful things that were being said regarding Natasha's grandbaby. She was live today over on Granny's Watchings, and Granny tried to self-explain her side of the situation from her point of view.
Right, like she always does.
And she got barked at by voices. And apparently my name was brought into the subject because of the hateful things that I have said in the past about other creator and their children.
Mrs. P, you don't know how to keep other people's children out of your mouth. So why are you going after other people? Please. Don't go on your high horse and preach to other people on this subject. I don't always agree with voices on everything, but Natasha goes after other people's kids too. So
now, let me make one thing extremely clear to all of you. I don't know how many times I have tried apologizing for all my past bad behavior.
Apologies?
And the bad comments that I made to those other creators and their kids. And I just want everyone to know I was out of line.
So where's Save Robbie's apology, Mrs. P? Where's Jamie's apology? Where is Tiff's apology? Where is Amy L's apology? I'd like to know this.
And I don't blame Granny for being bothered with me. I don't blame her. CJ and I have gone round and round. But again, it's my own fault. But again, I have tried apologizing. And I have been really trying to work at being better and doing better.
Right, Mrs. P.
And I
Stop
just don't
lying.
understand people like Voices that want to continue to hold it over my head and hold it against me for the rest of my life.
You still want to
He's
keep this
become very
going, Mrs. P?
judgmental, very hateful, very vile toward a lot of us on YouTube. And Voices, if you really have that major of an issue with me, you come talk to me.
I'm sure she tried, Mrs. P,
But
but you
I'll let you know
blocked her.
now, Voices. If I do allow you over here in my community, you will behave yourself, because if not, then I'll be like everybody else. I cannot have you here. So let me make that clear.
Exactly, Becca Chu. Change behavior.
Exactly, Joyce. Hey, Renee. Welcome. But again, for the vile hatefulness that was shown this morning, again, like I said, my name was brought into it. And all I can keep saying is, I'm sorry for all my past bad behavior. I was going through a lot last year, like everybody else. It was around the holiday season. Everybody was stressing like we all do during the holidays. And I was having a very hard time keeping my own self mentally regulated.
More excuses, Mrs. P?
But again, I have been working really, really hard at staying in mental health therapy, which I did have my therapy appointment this morning after Natasha's live. And I had a very good discussion with my therapist.
You need to have a bigger discussion, Mrs. P, with your therapist on your behavior, on how you make this all about you. I heard a video, and you should be asking people how they are doing instead of making everything me, 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 me.
And I did bring a lot of this into discussion because I still feel guilty for the issues that I have. But yet, it bothers me mentally up here, knowing the fact that everybody still is making me feel guilty for the way that I once was. And I will always regret that. Hey, Kimberly. Welcome. But I really want to let go of that, because after seeing the way that Voices was last night and this morning, it really, really opened up my eyes. Because I feel like I was looking at myself partially.
So everything is Voice's fault, Mrs. P, instead of yours fault? Come on. We've been through this before. You are to blame for your behavior. Don't sit there and blame everyone else for your behavior.
And the way that I once was. With all my past bad behavior. And again, truthfully, I had to step back. After listening and watching Voices this morning, I was disgusted. I was really disgusted, not just with her, but with myself. Hey, Kathy, welcome.
I can't
And
either,
again,
Becca
after
Chu.
listening to her vile mouth, it showed me
I can't imagine
quite a
a
lot.
therapist being all right with their behavior
And
with
truthfully,
others.
I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like that anymore. And again, truthfully, it frightened me. And I know how everyone feels about me. And you all have a right not to like me. And I completely respect that. But all I can do is say again to Jessica, I'm sorry for the comments that I made last year toward your child and the hateful comments I've made towards CJ and anybody else, Sally Ann. I've had a lot of issues myself with my own mental health. Hey, Laura, welcome. So again, you know, Voices, you really need to stop being so vile, especially regarding Natasha and her new coming grandbaby. Because right now, your behavior, again, is irreprehensible and inexcusable. You have some real issues of your own. We all have mental health issues of one thing or another. But, lady, you really need some serious help and you really need to get a grip. Because, again, you are going to lose a lot of people that you considered friends.
Really? You have lost a lot of people that
You
are
and
friends.
I thought at one time were good with each other. But you and I had issues. But after the way that you were with me, I'll be honest, I want no part of that. And that's why I chose to walk away from you as well. Now, I don't know what's going on in your private life, and it's none of my business. Pardon me. But again, your behavior is completely inexcusable.
So has much of your behavior, Mrs. P.
To threaten harm on a newly expected mother, saying, I hope she's ripped from one end to the other, is not okay. And to wish ill will on the baby is also not okay. Let me make that clear. I've been pretty hurtful myself toward everybody and their kids. And I will always, always regret it. And again, this needs to stop. Because Voices, you have no idea what this is even doing to Natasha.
Woo-hoo, boo-hoo,
As you
Natasha.
know, like everybody else here, Natasha also has numerous health issues of her own that she has to deal with.
If Natasha had so many health issues, doesn't it have to do with her weight? All she has to do is get out and get some exercise, Mrs. P.
Then she's got her daughter Hannah. She's got her niece Kaylee, or her niece Mariah, who she just recently newly adopted, and her daughter Kaylee with the coming baby. Natasha has had a lot on her own plate. And I think out of respect for Natasha, I don't care who you are. If you all don't like Natasha for whatever reason, hey, I get it. But out of respect for me, just leave Natasha and her family alone. They're still going through a lot of adjustments, trying to get Mariah settled in her home. Now that all the legalities are over and it's become official that she is, Natasha's adopted daughter now, I think we should all just step back, let Natasha breathe, and stop being so hateful. Stop being so vile.
Doesn't that apply to you, Mrs. P, too?
Lady Vagabond, get out of here. I could care less what you think. And if you have that kind of an issue with me, you're gone.
I already took her out.
Hey, Lordy. Hey, Who. I know, obviously,
Probably
Voices only cares
not.
about herself,
Pikachu.
but again,
She's not
you
going to
know, we
apologize to
all
Mama
need
Knows
to learn to
Best.
love one another and respect one another and get along. Life is too short and too precious for everyone to continue such vileness and hate here on YouTube. Where is it going to end? Because I'll say something, and it's going to scare a lot of you, is I think what it's going to come down to, and it's just a stated fact, that somebody like me or anybody else on YouTube, somebody is going to get extremely hurt or even killed to get somebody's attention.
What, Mrs. P?
And that's just the God honest truth. Again, life is too short, people, for all this ugliness and hate to go on. And again, I've had to learn it for myself.
You haven't learned anything, Mrs. P.
Because I'll be honest, again, my past bad behavior, I'm not going to excuse it. It was out of line. My own bad behavior was also inexcusable. But I think since then, I've learned a very valuable lesson.
I hope you can
from
prove
all
me
of it.
wrong, but
For those that I've hurt and those that I actually considered friends, hey, I understand it. It is. It's sad and disgusting, Lord D. It is. Hey, let it be. Thank you. That means a lot. But again, you know, we all may dislike each other over whatever, but why let it drag on?
hi, pigs on wing.
And again, it's the same way again with Granny. She does her thing as a creator on her channel. Yes, she and I have had issues. We may not like each other or can't stand each other. But again, for me, I have to learn to respect her as a creator. Again, it's the same with CJ. It's the same with Sally Ann, Robbie, anybody on YouTube. We all need to learn to let go of this hate. And we all need to just come together as creators and respect one another, respect each other's opinions on whatever the issue is that's being discussed. Again, creators do true crime. A lot of people do drama. A lot of people like me like to do arts and crafts. And we all have a different point of view on things.
Let me stop it right here. I've been telling everybody, if you don't like someone's channel or don't like someone on YouTube, you don't go over to their channel. No one forces you to watch them. Don't troll their chat. Don't go over and harass them or so they can play the victim card and ask for money. So I ask people to leave Mrs. P alone. Stop calling the police. Stop doing this. And people thought, well, I'm defending Mrs. Portland and her bad behavior. No, I wasn't. All right. Now, she has a point here, but she's only pandering to Natasha. Now, I don't like many creators here on YouTube. I don't go to their channel. I don't go into chat. I don't leave dirty comments. I don't donate to their super chats. I just leave them alone. So that's how I handle it. And I just ignore them. And I let people have their own opinions on here, even if they're so out there and I don't agree with them. Nobody is telling Mrs. P that she can't have arts and crafts. I'd rather have her do her arts and crafts than yelling and screaming at people on her community posts and making videos about them. All right, let's just make that clear. But she's sitting here. She sounds like she got hit in the head, and she now making sense to everybody. Now let's continue.
But why can't we just learn to just get along and respect one another? Exactly, Joyce. There are too many hate channels. There's several even on me. Portland Archives, for one. I Have a Problem is another that does nothing but hate videos on me.
I don't like I have a problem.
There's a lot of creators that have such a strong hate for me.
But I don't go to her channel.
And again, I get it.
And go out of my way to
But those channels don't deserve my time or attention. Hey, Hooker, welcome, sweetie.
And see, she's
I have it
hanging
set
out
to
with
subs
trouble.
only, and for
makers.
anyone that wants to be mouthy or disrespectful, they're gonna have to wait 5 hours just to chat in here. Hey, Sherry. Well, it is worth it because the way that I see it, cool, is there's enough room on YouTube for everybody.
Yes, Mrs. P, and they
That's
have
the way
the
that I
right to
see that.
disagree with you too, and it's not a hate
But again,
attack.
I'm just basically making a point blank statement that those that have hate in their hearts, God help them. Because again, I've learned a very valuable lesson out of my own hate. And it's not who I wish to be.
And I don't hate you
And
either,
I don't
Mrs.
like to see
Portland.
any of these other creators end up like me, being so hateful,
I'm just
nasty,
calling
and
you
vile.
out.
Hey,
So
Laura,
maybe
welcome.
you'll learn something.
Well, I agree with you. Your family should come first.
And how your actions affect other people.
And Mama Stone, I am not seeing you.
I seen her in here earlier.
Well, let me go into my block list again and see if I can get you unblocked. Give me 1 second, folks, and I'll take care of this lady.
You need to learn, Mrs. P.
But
from your
again,
mistakes.
you know,
Not
I
do
am
them
just
over
so
and over
tired
again.
of fighting with everybody. I don't want to be fighting with anybody anymore. Hey, Mama Stone. Okay, you
Then
are
don't
unblocked.
fight with everybody.
And you are welcome. Hey, Ferdy. But again, I don't want to spend the rest of my life feeling angry or hateful toward those creators that don't like me. I don't want to spend the rest of my life fighting with any of you. And I know you all have issues with me in one way or another, and that's fine. I just have to simply learn to respect that.
How are you doing today?
Hey, Mr. Chong, welcome. So again,
I don't think she's learned anything
voices,
either.
like I said, I don't know what your problem is, but to continue to hold it over my head.
I think you're right on that. Pigs on wing.
I'm sorry, but if that's how you feel, then okay. I have tried since then at trying to get my own self turned around mentally and emotionally. And I am really trying to work hard at being a better person. I think it's a lot easier to be respectful and kind and loving towards someone and not holding a grudge. And I'll be honest with you, for a long time, when Natasha and I were even going rounds last year, we both were
Hello, Wild
hateful
Fox.
in a lot of ways with each other. And so for a long time, yes, I held a grudge against Natasha because of how she thought about me. But again, looking back, I respect her for how she felt, and I still do. But again, Natasha has been there like a sister has for everybody in here. Natasha brings a lot of us joy. She brings a lot of us happiness. But as her community too, those that have been with her longer than me, they've also been together through the worst of times. But again, I have slowly through time, I have learned to let go of that grudge.
Really, Mrs.
And
P?
learn not to hold it against Natasha. Natasha has been very kind at forgiving me. And we've agreed
Let me stop it right here,
a lot of that
Mrs.
ugliness.
P, and call you out on that. Didn't you have, when her channel went down, you had a safe place for her subs to go? And Natasha got real mad at you for that. Do you remember that, Mrs. P? And you got a lot of slack for that. Was that a very nice thing for Natasha to do to you? And you sit up here and be her puppet. So don't sit up here and say Natasha's this great, wonderful person. When in my opinion, I think you crawled yourself back to her community for the donation money. All right? You could prove us all wrong. You can absolutely prove your naysayers wrong. But that's just how we're seeing it right now. Hi, Amy. Rachel, nothing happened to your comment.
Behind us, because again, we just both agree that it's so much easier to be kind and be civil toward one another. Okay, troll, you're gone. Bye.
We already got him.
So, but again, Natasha is a great gal. But again, she's human, like the rest of us in this world. She has issues just like anybody else in this life. But to see all those people that keep coming at her and coming at her and coming at her, it needs to stop. And her family needs to stop being attacked as well. And that's why I'm here. It's okay. The trolls just want attention. That's all this is over. They just want their own little 5 minutes of shame. That's why they're here. Sherry,
Exactly,
they come from
Amy.
all over on YouTube, as anybody else knows.
She wants
I know Mother
Natasha's
Knows
subs to
Best
give her money.
apologized. I know. I heard her apology this morning. And
Oh,
she's
yes,
another
pigs
one that
on
I
wing.
have had some personal issues with also.
I've seen that one.
So again, I'm going to make a blanket statement to Mama Knows Mess. I'm sorry for my own bad behavior towards you. And I know you don't like me, and I know I really don't care that much for you personally, but again, as a creator, you and Natasha have had issues too. But again, to hear you apologize for being involved with Voices this morning, I think was a wise move. But again, if you get mixed up with somebody like that, sweetie, and again, I've had to learn the same lesson, is I have to think twice of who I choose
I never
to be
thought of it
involved
that
with.
way, Rachel. You got a good point there.
And that's why I choose now, if I have a problem with somebody on YouTube, I simply I keep this shut. I don't say anything, and I quietly walk away. And if there's somebody in chat that I don't care for or doesn't care for me, I have just simply learned to use my block button and not say anything more. Because it's just not worth constantly stirring up a hornet's nest and starting another big nasty fight with someone. And I think we all need to learn that same lesson of asking ourselves, when is it okay to finally just let go and walk away?
You need to learn that, Mrs. P, and practice that.
Laura, it was this morning over on Granny's Watchings. It was over on her live this morning.
Oh, Granny's watching. Don't get me started.
Exactly, Joyce. It was very disgusting. The awful things that Voices was saying.
I know, pigs on the wing.
And it's extremely inexcusable.
She's not acting herself.
Exactly, Donna. But the thing is, the biggest question I have for all those people out there, people that keep going at Natasha, do you do the same thing to your own family? Do you do that to your neighbors? Do you treat the people that you sit next to in church that way? Or even any of your closest friends? Do you treat any of them like you do Natasha? That's a question you all have to ask yourselves.
Hooker asked if you can unblock NC this queen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can do that. I can unblock her. Give me 1 second.
You have everyone blocked, Mrs. P.
But again, getting back to Natasha, Natasha has done a lot of wrong in her own life, like we all
Oh, yes.
have.
Wait till tomorrow, Rachel.
Natasha has owned up to all those mistakes. She has paid her price. Why can't everybody just let it go and let her move on?
I'll answer that for you, Mrs. P, because she keeps doing it. She keeps up with her behavior. If she just shut the fuck up, Natasha, no one would feel the need to defend themselves or whatever. Duh. People.
Are all of you really that miserable to where you want to continue to make Natasha and her family miserable? You all must be very sad, pathetic, miserable people in your own life and have to hurt and attack somebody, even like me, all the time, just to make your own selves look better. It's inexcusable.
I do have to agree with that.
Okay, I am not seeing her on my main block list, which means I'm going to have to go into my YouTube block list and go from there. So, I don't know if I can do that right now.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I heard that too, Sherry, that she talks to her own mother that way. Wow.
Ooh.
Again, for me, I never had a mother.
Wait a minute.
Again, all I've had is my father in my life. And
all right, let me stop you right there and catch you in a lie, Mrs. P. So first you say you don't have you didn't grow up with your mother. Then yesterday you were talking about your mother and the mistreatment to your father. Which is it, Mrs. P? Which story are you going with this time? Gotcha, Mrs. P. Caught you in another lie. There you go.
and my grandmother on his side. And I tell you, there was a time where I will be honest, I was very vile to my own grandmother at one time when I was growing up. My own grandmother
Hello, Juice
was
Canoe's
very
fake.
old school. And in a lot of ways, I'll be honest with you, even though Natasha's younger than me, she reminds me a lot of my grandmother because of how strong and tough she is. Well, my grandmother got pushy with me at one point in my life, and I badmouthed her. I badmouthed my own grandmother.
We'll be doing another cooking show very soon.
And I tell you what, I learned a very valuable
I think
lesson
so. Pigs on the wing.
from mouthing off to my grandmother.
She mentioned that this father,
because that same day,
the father got the Purple Heart or
she took
something.
a switch to my hind end. She took a weeping willow branch off of her tree that she had in the backyard. She pulled me over her knee and she swatted me once. That's all it took. And ever since then, I have learned the hard way of the lesson called respect.
But you haven't learned any respect.
And that's what I have to
Mrs.
keep
P.
reminding myself of is that time where my grandmother set me straight. Oh, I'm sorry,
You never
Sherry.
know with her. She probably will be back to her
Well,
old
just
ways.
be very fortunate that you have a mother.
You should see what Patty
That's
said.
something that I have never had in my life.
How he asked when I was going to do another cooking show. She loved my barbecued meatloaf.
I don't know when we're going to do another cooking live, Patty, but my husband and I will talk about that this weekend and see what we can come up with. Well, Louise, as you know, I've had a lot of people still coming at me. I still get attacked also on a daily basis by the haters here on YouTube. But I am trying to do my best at not letting them bother me. I tell you what, it's a lot harder said than done. Because
I like what Hooker just said.
it takes a lot less time for me to be set off. Thank you, Lord D. I appreciate that. Yeah, having a switch taken to me, it did sting. And it kind of shocked me too. But like I said, I was only swatted the one time. And that's all it took. And that's why, again, after last night and this morning, I just really want to put it out there as creators, all of us, those that have channels on here and those that don't. Why can't we just all learn to get along and respect one another? We may not necessarily have to like each other, but we need to start having some consideration for one another in here. Exactly. And another issue I want to bring up too is, again, Hooker and I started learning to know each other here about a week and a half ago. And it has caused a great rift between me and another creator. And again, I want that creator to...
So Hooker is having you do her dirty work. How lovely, Mrs. P. And you can't even see that as a problem. But a while back, they were cursing you out and calling you names. But still, you run to Hooker. That dirty little Hooker.
To know, it is nothing to do with Hooker. Hooker is the one that decided to reach out to me. And apparently this creator has a real issue with the fact that now Hooker and I have become friends. And we talk quite frequently off and on during the week when she's not working. And Hooker has been very kind to me. She's been very courteous and respectful of me and the situation I'm currently in. But this other creator seems to have such a beef with me over this to where I'm still being threatened legally.
Me either, pigs on the wing.
And I would never think telling everybody if I even continue to mention her name, I'll deal with Mrs. P legally if she doesn't stop speaking of me. Well, she sent me a cease and desist letter last week. And I'll be honest with you, that letter don't mean shit. Because every time she's gone live, she still continues to bring me up. And if she thinks that she can scare me into silencing me, not happening.
Okay, everybody's talking about pizza in here and wanting me to make more pizza on the pizza stone.
It's my right. If I choose to discuss her, this is my channel and my community and my live stream. And if you don't care for my topic at hand, then you can feel free to excuse yourself. Actually, Lord D, my husband and I don't do chili.
Oh, I love chili.
I think this creator is just mad because Hooker is one that decided on her own accord to reach out to me because she felt like the information she had would be helpful to me. And that's all is over. And ever since then, since Hooker and I have become better acquainted and become friends now, this creator has continued to make a huge stink over it.
Aww.
And I'm still being threatened over it. She continues to threaten me legally. But I want her to know that I have also contacted my local legal aid office here earlier in the week. And I got several names
The plot.
of some very fine law offices in my area. And I have gotten in contact with every single one of them regarding this situation. And I tell you what, it is not cheap by any means. Just for a retainer here is $5,000, like it is in most states. And that doesn't include the time on the case. Oh, Hooker makes me laugh too. Exactly. She don't take no crap, Sherry. Exactly. So, but again,
absolutely easy.
This person continues to threaten me legally.
She used this speech
saying
a million
that
times
she's
before.
Come after me legally. Well, she needs to know that she's going to have to help me with several things financially. Because again, my husband and I do not have a vehicle. We do not drive.
Maisie. That's
and
a
there
good way
is
to
no
put it.
public transportation to and from that area. There used to be Greyhound bus service years ago, but they stopped all bus service to and from that area because lack of ridership. So there's no public transportation to and from that area, and that's 3 hours down and 3 hours back. And if my husband and I have to stay,
I highly doubt that, Mrs. P. There has to be some form of transit. Even if there wasn't, you can at least have a Zoom court hearing. I'm not really buying your little story here. You can at least have your little Zoom hearing. You don't need the royal treatment here. As for your cash donation requests, I don't think it's such a big deal.
Overnight, we will need help with hotel accommodations, meals, because for me medically, I cannot travel alone. I have to have assistance with me at all times, no matter where I go. Then I also have a mobility scooter that I have to use because I have issues with my mobility. So I need to have a way to transport my scooter. And all those pennies add up. And those are funds my husband and I do not have.
Fake. She just wants the extra money so she can.
So again, I'm just letting everybody know that I have also put up a legal fund in my PayPal. I've changed the title of my PayPal to my legal fund. So any and all financial help is greatly appreciated. Because if it does come down to some kind of legal action, I'm going to need all the help in the world because my husband and I being on disability.
I encourage everyone that's listening, do not donate to that legal fund. Do not donate anything. You are just enabling the delinquency and bad behavior if you do so. I'm not going to tell anyone what to do, but that's just my take on the whole situation here.
We have very, very little means as of right now. We have zero means money-wise. We have nothing. And that creator also put up a legal PayPal, and she's made $1,000 already. How is this okay?
Dog Scout says he's local and he'd be happy to help.
I appreciate that, Hool. Well, if she doesn't want to escalate anything, Donna, then why does she keep coming at me? No, Lordy, they can't help me with this particular situation. It has to be money out of pocket. Unfortunately, out here in Oregon, the legal system really stinks.
Aw, Mrs. P.
But again, I have known this creator all my life. She continues to accuse me of being a liar. Well, I'll tell you what. If you think that I'm a continual liar, then you know what? Okay. But I know my truth. And I'm fine with that. I have known this person all my life.
But your truth isn't exactly the truth, Mrs. P. Are you this delusional? And you're saying it with a smile on your face.
And my life has been a living hell because of this person. I moved away from where she and I both were neighbors after so many years because I couldn't take it anymore. So
Yes, Ocean Wave.
I tried to get as far away
You
from
are
this
right
person
on
as I
that.
could, and I'm still being coming after. This person still continues to come after me. This person has been at me all my life.
You know, douche
And
canoe.
all I want is for this person just to leave me
That's a
alone.
wonderful idea. Why don't they pay for it if they're such good friends now, right?
Well, I appreciate that, Joyce, but that's not the issue. It's just the fact that mentally, the constant legal threats are being made at me has put me in a bad place as of lately.
Did you see Doug Toll's comment? He said he could drive us.
I know, yeah, I see that. Yeah, I appreciate that, Hool. But again, mentally, with the legal threats that keep coming at me, being told to shut my mouth, trying to silence me, I'll be honest with all of you. I have not been able to sleep or eat in the last week and a half because I have become so frightened to where I have had nightmares. I already have issues with PTSD and nightmares from when our son was taken away from us 18 and a half years ago.
Firefly's asking how much we need in total.
Firefly, as much as anybody can afford, just a little bit from everybody would help me. I'm going to, Louise. I'm going to continue to try to keep building my channel. But I have 13 other channels that I have made.
13 other channels?
I have a completely separate channel now just for my arts and crafts. And then I have another channel strictly for my mental health issues that I want to bring up. So, again, on here is just kind of an open discussion. If when I feel the need to do a live. And I'll probably try to make one of my 13 channels into a cooking channel for me and my husband because it won't be here.
Ruby says it's 11.
I didn't know that, Maisie. Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
Get some rest. Says have a good night.
Exactly, Firefly. Okay, whoever is needing to go, have a good night. I appreciate you being here. And
oh, they're new community
H?
posts, right, Maisie?
It's 11:30.
Okay. I don't see her in here.
She's a
probably
mod.
seen the ones earlier today.
Huh.
She's a mod. She's in here. She said
exactly, Firefly. So people like that creator, they have no idea as to the expense that it's putting out of myself and my husband. And already that creator already has $1,000 that it's been donated to her.
You jealous?
For the same
Mrs.
reason. Firefly, if I can make that much, yes. But right now, my PayPal is only set to $5,000.
Which is going to end in about 9 days.
Yeah, which will end in about 9 days. So, all I can do is try my best to come up with the necessary legal funds that my husband and I are going to need. Well, I understand that too, Louise, and you're right.
I agree with that, pigs
But
on the
again,
wing.
I'm just saying if it comes down to the fact that she wants to force me into a court
Natasha
action,
and Hooker
I want to be able to feel comfortable enough to where I know that I'm going to have the funding to do whatever's necessary for myself. Because again, I'm going to need an attorney to help represent me. And if I do, again, just for a retainer fee, it's going to cost at least $5,000. And again, that's not including the attorney's time to actually work on the case itself. And I believe they charge quite a hefty fee by the hour.
Oh, yes, attorneys are not cheap.
Then,
Mrs.
of course,
P.
there's the filing fee for the courthouse. Again, transportation to and from. Hotel accommodations for me and my husband. And enough funding to where my husband and I can be able to eat if we have to stay overnight. Because the closest courthouse to where this creator lives is another hour south of her location.
That doesn't sound right, Mrs. P.
And again,
Each
money like
county
that
has a
comes dear to
courthouse.
everybody because we're living in such hard times financially anyway, and everybody besides myself is also struggling. So, let me see what happened to Ruby H. I could have sworn I don't know what happened, but I am not seeing her in here. Huh. I'm going to have to go back and double check my main block list because I am not seeing anybody. Well, it does worry me though, Louise.
Absolutely, Amy. She doesn't have a court date or papers filed. So
yeah, the Lincoln County, Oregon area does not do Zoom. But if it does come down.
Okay, that was debunked today, everyone. That lie was debunked. Tiff, Lycan's girlfriend, called the courthouse and they do Zoom. So that's one big fat lie, Mrs. P. So knock it off.
Of that, then something is going to have to happen. But again, I just need to reassure myself that if it does come down to where I'm being threatened to be taken legally, she's not going to get anything out of me anyway because I don't have anything. I make less than $564 a month on my disability. That's it. That's the only income I have.
I guess Lincoln City does do Zoom hearings.
Oh, okay. But again, like I said, it's put me in a very, very tough spot. And so I'm just trying to look after myself and my husband. But again, bringing in less than $600 a month on my disability, it's the only income I've got. So what does she really have to gain by coming after me legally.
Yep, Maisie. I think
She
you're
can't
right.
throw me out of my home because I'm on Section 8.
It's all about the money, Amy.
I hope so, Lordy, because something needs to happen. I'm just tired of the threats that are being put against me. I think all this person is trying to do is just really frighten me to the point where, you know, she actually made the comment the other day on one of her live streams that she won't be satisfied until I'm completely gone. She wants to take everything away from me. She wants to ruin my happiness with my marriage. She wants to completely destroy my life.
She doesn't want your
And
husband,
again, she
Mrs.
commented the other
P.
day that she won't be happy until I'm completely ruined. And that alone frightens me. Well, I do worry about it, though. It is a very heavy mental burden. Because truthfully, again, everybody, a lot of this has very much frightened me. And you all don't realize the nights that I lay in bed,
I don't
where
think
my
she
husband has to
mashes
hold
after
me
money. I think it's
me
her
cry
reputation that's at stake.
because of how frightened I have become. And this creator thinks it's funny. And again, I've known this creator all my life outside of YouTube. And she, you know, has continued to come at me. And I would give all this to be over with and for her just to back away and leave me.
Let's talk about what Amy just said for a minute. It isn't true, Mrs. P. What you just said. Save Robbie, your former friend, the one you spit in his face. You spit in this guy's face, the friend that was there for you. Brokered a peace between you two. And what did you do? You get an email from Hooker. Right? After this so-called peace that you had. And she starts talking shit. So you take the bait, Mrs. P, and you go off on Noodle Mash. Do you even understand that Noodle Mash had her falling out with Natasha? And they probably went blood. Do you understand this? So you continue to drag this on? Oh, I'm sure you saw the emails, Amy. And you did talk to Mrs. P. Oh, yes, Amy. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. There's one thing Noodle Mash did say that and I actually believe this, that Mrs. P is her own worst enemy. And I think that's actually true, though. She is her worst enemy at this point in time.
Me alone and let me live my life and be happy. But apparently, she won't be done until she sees me completely miserable. Yes, Laura, she said that she won't be satisfied until I'm completely ruined.
Okay, Louis, we'll see you later.
Okay, Louise.
Louise, excuse me.
Thank you for being here. Love you too, and you have a good rest of your night, sweetie. I appreciate you being here. But you know what? I am trying so hard every day to not be miserable. But yet, knowing her, she's probably going to use this against me as well and continue to call me a liar.
But the thing
and that's
is,
okay
Mrs.
because
P,
I know what I heard.
You are lying.
And my husband heard it too. So, but again, nobody understands what this has done to me emotionally and mentally. And to know that I'm constantly threatened, that she won't stop until I'm completely ruined. I just don't know what to do.
Lord D says she'll keep us both in prayer.
Thank you, Lord D. I appreciate it. I'll try my best. That's why, again, just to satisfy her, I probably won't do any more arts and crafts on this channel or anything else in the way of fun, because she'll do everything she can to try to take it away from me. So I am having to make other channels for other things just to try to keep my distance from her and from her attacking me. Again, all I want is for her to back off and leave me alone and go about her own life.
Exactly. 1 minute at a time.
If this wasn't so pathetic.
And yes, I keep trying that too, Laura. 1 minute at a time. Well, I'll tell you what, it really just doesn't help much.
Mrs. P.
Okay, Lord
Noodle
D,
isn't
have a good night.
interested in your arts and crafts. She has her own channel for that.
Tell her. Okay. Take care, sweetie. Have a good night. Love.
She just wants you to leave her alone at this point.
Have fun coloring.
We got 166 in the box.
But again, you know, just the mental aggravation and the mental upset and the emotional upset that this has cost me, and nobody understands what it's made my husband feel. My husband tries so hard to show that he's strong, but mentally and emotionally, my husband is pretty broken himself. And the other night when he held me and let me cry, he actually started crying himself. And I very rarely ever see my husband cry.
Oh yeah, douche canoe's fake. I can only imagine, and it's probably not the truth either.
Because he feels like there's only so much he can do to comfort me and support me, but this has made him a wreck as well. I have lost my sparkle. And truthfully, people, I have lost my happiness. I'm tired of being miserable, but apparently this is what this creator is wanting. And everybody keeps telling me, keep my chin up, keep trying to shine. Well, that's really hard to do when you're not the one that's being threatened. But again, I think she's just doing it to get her own jollies and get her own rocks off.
Pigs on the wing. Noodle Mash contributed to some of this though. She did come to YouTube, and she did go after Mrs. P. The fighting went both ways, but at the end, I gotta give Save Robbie some credit here. He did broker a peace, which was why I kind of took a stab at her in the first place, was to get Noodle to that point of trying to talk this whole thing out here. But at the end of the day, Mrs. P broke that. because she decided to listen to Hooker and not ask for proof of anything. You see where I'm getting at here? Now Mrs. P is just taking other people's word for things and just going boom off the rails. And if let's just continue.
Because apparently I think that's what makes her happy, is to see everybody else miserable like her.
I think people do buy her stuff, Ocean Wave.
Well, Sam, I'm sorry, but
I know
you
one
know
person
what?
bought one of her paintings.
Goodbye.
So
I don't see Sam.
yes, Amy, you bought one of her paintings.
But if she wants me off YouTube, sorry, not happening. I'm not going anywhere. And Natasha said the same thing to all her haters. So I'm not going anywhere. There's enough room on YouTube for everybody. And if that creator doesn't like the fact that I'm still on YouTube, then she needs to just get over it. So let me make that clear. Well, I hope she leaves me alone, Miss Dior, because I would give anything to get my sparkle back and to be happy again. But until all this is said and done, with the constant threats that I'm getting and the nasty threats that my husband is now getting,
she's not angry anymore.
it needs
I don't
to
buy
stop.
it. She's still angry.
They keep saying I'm spreading porn around.
Yeah, people are
YouTube.
going around telling everybody that my husband does nasty pictures, which is not true.
I could vouch for that. I don't think Walter would be sending out nasty pictures.
Well, your grandmother's very wise, Joyce. Your grandmother is very wise. So
I never seen Mrs. P take videos of Walter acting any way inappropriate with anyone. So the one acting inappropriate or any way sleazy was Mrs. P. So let's get that straight. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Just because she decides to.
anyway, okay, I've been on here almost an hour. Who? I don't know. But truthfully, I'm not into this, for the views.
Oh, he surely did.
Exactly.
I don't care. I don't care about the numbers.
You're right.
Mrs. P, that's another lie. You made a video, I think, was it last week or a few days ago, that you were crying about your watch hours and your sub count? Does anyone remember that? She was crying about all that. Well, I don't really. I watch my numbers on here, but I don't really care if about my watch hours or my sub count. I'm thankful for what I get on here, actually. Mrs. P seems to be obsessed with it, getting monetized and the whole glory with it. But what I found out was there's always a catch to being monetized, and I'm not really sure if I would want to actually be monetized, to be honest with you. So even if Mrs. P was to get monetized, she'd probably be demonetized quickly due to the way she acts. Look at the way Natasha Cooper acts. She gets her channels taken down because she's not following TOS or whatever the issue is. They strip her monetization, right? 1, 2, 3.
I don't do crap like that.
But again, when it comes to money, everybody gets monetized on YouTube except for me. And I'm the one that gets barked at for having a PayPal.
And you've been on here for over.
And I make very little income on my disability when it comes to my arts and crafts. And now this legal issue. So she got $1,000 donated to her for her legal fund. So for me, on my end, I'm going to need a little bit of help too. So if anybody wishes to help support me during this difficult time with my own issues in this whole entire legality, in the way of threats, in the way of being forced into some sort of court hearing, then I'm going to need a little bit of financial support as well. I think I have as much right to kindly ask for donations too, like anybody else does. Well,
Pigs
Laura,
on the wing.
I took all
She
my other
means
live streams down this
Walter
last
was
week
sending
because of all of
foods
this.
to people. That's what she's talking
Because
about.
this creator just
which
will
isn't
not leave
true.
me alone.
I never seen any proof of that.
She has continually attacked me and said things about all my live streams. So I thought, to keep her off my back, I took all of my videos down last week just to satisfy her.
Oh, absolutely. You told me all about
And that's
that,
why
Amy.
I have. Hang on just a second. I have a phone call.
And then she spits right in your face afterwards. But she checked on her package, see if it was coming. That's what really got to me, Amy. Was that what she did to you?
Okay, sorry about that. That was my state caseworker letting me know that I have a medical assessment on Monday. Well, Laura, it's kind of hard to do when I have deleted everything. I don't know how much time. I'd probably say within the next month.
We don't. That's the thing. We haven't been served with the paperwork yet.
Yeah, we haven't
really,
been served
Maisie?
anything. But
might have
just
to get to
save
those
face,
soon.
I would say
think she's
anytime
doing it for
between
money.
now and maybe the end of next month.
I think she's just doing it for money.
I really hope to have something to where I have a little bit of a cushion just in case if things spiral more out of control. And if I do need something legally, I want to be able to have something that I know I can count on. So, but Laura, I deleted everything and there's no way to put them back.
Well, and the thing is, I think she's doing this to raise money, and she's just calling it a legal fund.
I don't know. But again, all this has become such an upset. That's why I have a legal fund up on my PayPal. Because that way, if it does come down to push or shove, I'm going to need something in the way of finances to where my husband and I have a little bit of a cushion to do what we need to do on our end legally.
You can't do anything really legally if you're in the wrong, Mrs. P.
I know, Laura. I know. But I'll be informing everybody with all the other 13 channels I have. Like I said, I'll be on here occasionally for the little things like this. But I have 13 other channels made. And one of them is a craft channel. Another one is a mental health channel. And I'll probably rename one to where it'll be a cooking channel. Because again, I'm just trying to say
Maisie, I think she learned some of this behavior from people, to be honest with you.
So.
And she did learn some things from Natasha.
Okay,
that's what I'm
Hooker,
thinking.
good to know. So I'll be moving around from one channel or another along all my other new channels that I have built. So just to let everybody know that if I'm not on here, I'll probably be on one of my other backup channels or something. So that's the way I'm going to work it for right now. But again, all I really want is just for all of this to be over and for that creator just to back off of me and leave me alone and stop making legal threats against me.
I wouldn't doubt
And
that,
if you
Amy.
want to continue to call me a liar,
burn her apartment down with the cooking channel.
I really don't care what you think of me. If that's how you see me, then okay, whatever. But
That
just know this, I know my truth.
Nothing surprises me with Mrs. P anymore.
I know all my life what I have faced with you and what I continue to face with you. You have done nothing but try to ruin me my entire life. And all I wanted to do now is just stop.
Oh, yes.
Go on with your own life.
I saw when she burned the coloring pages in her fireplace. That was towards Jamie.
Oh, yeah. It wants to make you my Mr. P's meatloaf. Oh, I'm glad it was good. I'm glad it was good, Joyce. Exactly. Barbecue sauce is better than ketchup. Yep.
Amen.
And again, what's neat is my husband makes his own homemade barbecue sauce. We don't do store-bought. Not in this house. But again, getting back to the issue at hand, if she wants to continue to come at me and ruin me and so forth and threaten me.
Mental health channel. I wonder what that's like. Is that where she rants and raves all day?
Down.
Come on,
thank you. Okay. But again, I don't take county to threats. But if you think that you're going to ruin me, you're going to be very, very sadly mistaken.
I tend to agree.
Because come hell or high water,
she's only happy with the money.
If you're looking for an actual fight,
the gifts,
I'll fight you.
And nobody is threatening her.
But know this: you will not.
I haven't seen it, so.
And that's a promise.
Right
because
on.
you have a lot more to lose than I do.
She takes what do you call it? Criticism or someone else's opinion as a threat.
Good. So, but again, if she wants to be sad and miserable by making everybody like me miserable, that's on her, not me. So, as far as I'm concerned, she can go F herself.
Wow, Mrs. P.
Okay, Hooker, we'll see you later.
Exactly.
All right, sweetie. I love you. I'll talk to you probably this weekend. Okay. Well, I've been on here just a little over an hour and 7 minutes. I'm going to get off of here because it is getting close to my dinner hour. I want to thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. And I appreciate the love and support. And again, if anyone wishes to help support me in my legal issue, anything and everything is greatly appreciated, and you can put it right into my PayPal.
I've been posting your PayPal.
So I appreciate it. Have a good evening, everyone. And again, always remember, be kind to one another, respect one another, and love one another. And again, the voices, shame on you. Stop being so vile and so hateful. Because again, voices, you obviously got a lot of problems.
So do you, Mrs. P.
And you wonder why people are walking away from you as quick as they are? I think you need to stop and take a darn good look at your own self in the mirror and tell yourself what. And leave Natasha alone. Leave her family alone. And quit making things more difficult for her daughter and this new baby that's coming. Because Natasha's daughter is having some hard times also. And she doesn't need these headaches. So again, out of respect for
Good
Natasha,
point, Amy.
To you haters, you better just
You're on a
back
roll
off.
today.
Love you too, Laura. I love you, Hooker. Love you, Laura Fleming. Love you, Joyce.
We're making French dips tonight.
Yeah, we're doing French dips for dinner. Because we had pot roast last night. So my husband usually uses the leftover pot roast to make French dips.
I think many people can see what she's doing, Amy.
So
it's just
anyway. All right, I'm gonna get off of here. Again, love one another. Be kind to one another.
See what this is.
And be respectful of one another. And again, to all those that I have been hateful to in the past, I am sorry.
Right, Mrs.
I really
B, show it.
am.
Start changing your behavior, Mrs.
And I hope
B.
at some point all of you can learn to forgive me. Haley, goodbye.
I got her out.
Oh, okay. Haley, you want to come at me? Come on. Let's go, Haley. Think I'm scared of you?
Haley, come on.
Why don't you
Don't
shut
make
the
her
hell
look
up,
like the victim here.
Haley. All right. Love y'all. Have a good rest of your Friday evening or Saturday morning.
So someone, I think that was
are.
Maisie, said
Take care.
she uploaded a new
and I'll
one.
See you on the tubes.
So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to see if she actually uploaded a new one. Oh yes, she uploaded 2 of them. Everybody. Okay. We have one for 8 minutes. Okay.
Well. Seems like Voices had Andrea Mom pull up an old clip of me from at least a year ago when Natasha and I were on the outs with each other. Voices, you wasted your time.
Who says
Natasha
it was Voices?
And I now
prove it.
Have learned to put all that past in the past, and we are trying very hard at being civil with each other. She has gladly welcomed me back into her community. I'm not there all the time, but as of recently, I've been keeping pretty close to Natasha and her community, and they have all welcomed me back and have been very good to me. So you playing that worthless clip when I was going through one of my worst times, when I was going through all that phase of being angry and being ugly and hateful like you. At least from that point on, I have tried to work at being better and doing better. And I'm trying very hard now not to be angry or ugly anymore. I'll say one thing. I'm proud to be who I am. And at least I'm not like you. I'm not vile. I'm
really, Mrs. P. You're proud? Oh my God. You're sounding sociopathic now. You're sounding like another woman no on YouTube. Sorry for nothing. Wonder how that's going to turn out.
I'm not nasty and I'm not foul mouth like you. So there's that. But again, at least I'm working on bettering myself. I'm working at holding myself better together and not losing my temper.
Really,
and not
Mrs.
being
P.
hateful. Being hateful is worthless. Life is too short. So again, you wasted your time pulling up that old clip because it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing to me.
Okay, then why are you bringing it up, Mrs. P?
Shit. It's worthless. Because that was me then. But this is me now. So I could give a damn less of you pulling up that old clip. It really shows me how vile you really are and how low you're willing to go. Oh, and for everyone's attention, after Granny spoke with Mama Knows Mess this morning, as of tonight, she went crawling right back to voices. Yep. So from one vile piece of crap to another, I want no part of that mess.
Really? Well,
But
I'm not
know
taking your
this,
word
Mama
for it,
Knows
Mrs.
Mess.
P.
Come around the holidays, you stay away from my channel and away from my community because you stole Christmas from a lot of families last year.
I have no idea, Pigs on the Wing.
You cried and whined and begged for help.
I'm not taking her word for this.
And you've shown absolutely no appreciation at all for what was given to you. So again, everyone, be forewarned. Be very careful with Mama Knows Mess. Because everyone now knows her as the Christmas thief and the Christmas Grinch. But again, just know this. You won't get any help this year from anybody. After
Neither
the
are
crap
you,
that you
Mrs.
pulled
P.
last year, and the lies, and the crying, and the whining, and the fact that you took Christmas away from several families with children themselves that did not get a Christmas, that really shows me that you are beyond low. So go hang with that nasty, vile, low-hanging fruit, if that's what you want to call it, because I see it as rotten fruit. So Mama Knows Mess and Voice Cunt, you wasted your time because, again, if you're trying to piss me off with that old clip, sorry, not happening. I could care less about that old clip. And again, Natasha and I have made amends.
Hi, Voices. How are you?
We have put all that old crap in the past. We are moving forward because life is too short to be hateful. Natasha and I have managed to make amends. And I'm trying my very best to behave myself and be better and be more kind. And she's actually been very respectful of me. Because life is too short to be hateful. It's better to be kind and respectable and loving. And have a little bit of compassion for someone.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, Voices, you're worthless. God help you. You are nasty, vile, foul mouthed. You have no feelings for anyone but yourself. So, you're going to get your own ass into trouble here shortly.
Really?
And at least I'm not a criminal with a possible new felony for making fake COVID vaccination cards.
Prove it.
I really hope and pray that you do get your ass nailed. Because it would serve your nasty ass right. So, there's that. But at least Natasha's community is helping me to grow, to learn, at being better and doing better and keeping a better control of myself and my temper. Because I don't want to be like you. I don't want to be like you. I don't want to be hateful, vile, or ugly like you are. You make me sick. You really do. And I'm better off with
someone whose
the
decent
people that I am
voices
now
don't get
choosing
bought.
to associate with. So there's that. And I'm happier now than I've ever been in a very long
Well, Rachel,
time.
she's the topic of
I've
these
managed to
videos,
put a lot of my
so
anger
she
behind
probably
me.
is listening, you
I
know?
stayed in my mental health therapy. I'm on better medication. And I'm trying to take better care of myself. So there's that. And again, you're worthless. I wouldn't waste my time with somebody like you. I prefer
projecting?
to be where I'm at right now, and that's connecting with Natasha and her community and just being myself and doing what's right for me and doing what makes me happy. And again, God help you. God help you, voices. You must be a very sad, miserable individual. But you get what you get. So there's that. What goes around comes around. So, everyone, please be careful of voices. She's dangerous.
Whatever.
She's hateful, nasty, vile,
Whatever.
foul-mouthed, and apparently she's a very angry individual.
Whatever.
But again, fair warning to everyone, she's just really one to stay away from. So, do yourselves a favor. Choose and tread carefully with who you choose to associate with on YouTube.
I'm not taking your word for it, Mrs. P.
All right. Have a good evening.
All right. We got another video here.
Sorry about that.
Okay, wow. Sorry.
Well.
All right. We got a 2-minute video here.
Let me tell you something, voices.
Oh,
you
voices again
nasty.
being mentioned. What do you know? Look at someone who's obsessed with voices.
And vile and foul-mouthed. But tonight, when you pulled up that old clip, thanks to Andrea, bitch, I just want to let you know that was an old clip from a year ago, and truthfully, it don't mean shit. You know that? That was last year. That's when I was going through my angry phase. I'm not that way anymore. So if you think that that old video or old clip is going to bother me, sorry. Nope. And, at least Natasha and I have actually learned and agreed to be civil with each other and be kind and respectful of one another. And at least her community accepts me. And so there's that.
Yeah, that's because you're licking
and
her
Boots
ass.
Mom, I thought you and I were friends. I finally had enough funding to get myself my first diamond art painting. And I thought you had offered at one time to help teach me how to do it. If you're going to hang with that vile piece of nothing, I don't want your help and I don't want your friendship. Just stay away from me, is all I can say. God help you. If you're hanging with that animal, nope, sorry. I want nothing to do with you. So, there's that. But again, voices, if you think again that that old clip of me and Natasha fighting last year means anything, nope, don't mean shit. So,
yes,
anyway,
it does.
that.
Yes, it does, Mrs. P.
Have a
You're
nice
talking
night.
about it. Let's play this again.
Let me tell you something, voices.
Nah, let's not play that again. Voices, I got a question for you before we get in this. Did you crawl back to Granny's watching and CJ? Because this is what Mrs. P is claiming. I'm not taking Mrs. P's word for it or anything. Yeah, Mrs. P is claiming that you, after your fallout with Jessica and CJ, that you went and crawled back to her groveling. Yeah, exactly. You know, just like I thought. Yeah, 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 yeah. She's lying, just like I thought. You know, it's like this every day. It's becoming a common theme with Mrs. P. Lie, lie, lie. Get angry. Say I'm sorry. And now we have this. You know, it's a big shit show. You know, it's getting utterly ridiculous. Oh yes, Sizzle Silva. She's making up her own stories, and she expects us to believe them. Exactly. It's like people are expecting us to get really, really mad at voices here and making at the comments. I heard what she said, but Natasha does 10 times worse. Natasha says 10 times worse about people's children. And so Angela here can't say something right back to Natasha. That's one big double standard, and it's the reality here, you know? As a matter of fact, I just told everyone to fuck off, and I no longer care about what anyone says about me. Please unsub and exactly voices. I heard that earlier, and yeah, you don't have to put up with that shit, you know. I agree with that, you know. It's just simple. You're gonna be you. You're gonna be honest, and if nobody likes it, they can go fuck themselves. Exactly. Mrs. P did the walk of shame back to NC, though. Not to worry. NC will soon remind Mrs. P about her SD ridden mouth. Exactly. You know, this whole thing is getting ridiculous. Mrs. P's looking ass, and she thinks that Natasha's where the money is. You know, this is getting utterly pathetic, and she sits there and turns her back on people that were nothing but good to her. Oh yes, I'm gonna go to her community post. Let's read those before we leave here. Let's see. Whoa. Nasty Vile Voices played an old clip of me from last year when I was going through my angry phase. Wow, you go through that a lot, Mrs. P. Well, know this. It no longer bothers me. I'm a better person now. You're not showing it. And am in a much better place. Okay, whatever. So you playing an old clip of me with Natasha chewing me out is worthless. Things are much better now between me and Natasha, and at least we have learned to be civil with each other and show each other respect so that old clips, voices from Andrea's mom means nothing. And you wasted your time if you thought I was going to anger me. It didn't. So piss off, nasty, vile cunt voices. I pray one day that turnabout is fair play and that one day you get knocked down on your own nasty ass. And when it does, no, I will be the one laughing. Well, Mrs. P, I see you look very angry here. I don't buy this for a minute. Oh, here's another one. Oh, now Voices is threatening Token Hillbilly and a lot of Natasha's community with charges for reporting Voices to her city council and her newspaper. She's threatening now to place legal charges against everyone. Voices, you're so full of crap. You will be the one to get nailed with making fake COVID vaccine cards. I hope you end up in the federal penitentiary with room with Big Bad Bertha? Huh? Mrs. P? Who's threatening who here? Who's wishing harm on someone else? Whoa, Mrs. P. I'm not going to read this. I'm just going to let this sit here for a second for everyone to read it. So now you're angry, Mrs. P. And you're full of hate. Wow. Wow. Now she's posting links to Miss Voice's channel. Wow. Here we go again. Nobody's interested, Mrs. P. About your attorney. Wow. Get a Zoom hearing, Mrs. P. Wow. Community posts. Who is Token Hillbilly, Miss Voices? I'm just curious. I seen him around, but yeah, I just don't know this Token Hillbilly she's talking about, you know? Some of these people I never heard of, you know? It's like, what? Oh, okay. Someone going real life on you. Now she's supporting that. Wow. And people have the nerve to. I'm just shaking my head here. It's just getting insane. Here's another community post. Oops, mama. Oh dear. What's she gonna do? Burn people's paintings when they buy them? She's continuing. Oh dear. All right. Guess it's time for me to get off. It's almost 2 a.m. here, so Okay, go read. Oh, I'll go read it, Voices. I'll go read that. I don't go to her channel because it's full of trash. Natasha's. All right. I'm gonna get off now. I want to wish everyone a good night. Hope everyone enjoys the rest of their night and gets good night's sleep. Oh yes, she's using Mrs. P as an attack dog. Absolutely. All right. All right. Good night, everybody.